Hello, I'm Stalnaker with Hub Culture, and we're at the World Climate Summit in South Africa. The topic of the day is COP17 and the general issue around climate at large. And joining me is John Kornerup from Maersk. You're the head of sustainability and climate change and environment for the world's largest shipping company. I'm sure that you have a lot of thoughts and kind of opinions about what's happening here in Durban and how not only does it affect your company, but the industry of shipping at large. Let's talk about that. How are things shaping up for you guys here?
Well, I mean, we are of the opinion that shipping is ripe for effective and ambitious regulation on CO2 emissions. So this is something that we have supported for some years now, more and more with a larger and larger voice. Obviously, this has been difficult negotiations, but I think that we noted that the IMO last year made the design index, and we see that as a major step forward. A lot still have to come, but this was a clear sign that the IMO process is moving and an indication that it might deliver what it needs to deliver if we continue to put pressure on that process.
And so, because the process is a big, large, slow process, I know that Maersk is moving faster in many of these regards to look at improvements, efficiency enhancements, and also innovation, right? So that includes new ships?
It does, and a range of other things that we do. I think that just before going into that concretely, I think what's important to have in mind is that shipping is about ship to some extent, but it's really about globalization. It's about enabling trade and production patterns. And shipping has been the big partner of globalization in the 20th century. More than 90% of goods are moved around the globe is actually by ship. But the world is changing. We see massive and dramatic change in production and consumption patterns, and therefore shipping needs to change. Mm-hmm. And on our shipping side, the shipping side of our business, what we have said is that we can either think it go away, we don't think it's going to go away, or wait reactively or proactively try to shape that development. And we've chosen the latter, so we've set an ambitious target, which is 25% reduction of CO2 per container.
Compared to
per container by 2020.
Compared to current levels?
To 2007 baseline.
Okay.
That's what we think is realistic within the current shape of the shipping sector, which has some market failure. And one thing that we're pushing a lot is transparency. Mm-hmm. Today in the shipping market, it's not actually possible to see what you get. And therefore, we want to turn.
It's almost impossible to measure what the carbon output of a transportation thing is, because a ship from Shanghai to LA is a ship from Shanghai to LA. Yeah. Very hard to tell how much better or worse a ship is from a carbon standpoint.
Exactly, and we've set out to try and make climate change, or carbon performance, if you wish, a parameter for competition. One of the key things that we need is increased transparency. Otherwise, you can't compete on something that customers can't see. Right. And so we're making a tailor-made dashboard for customers that allows them to see exactly what's the carbon footprint of this particular shipping, right, and the services that we do for them. And we partnered up with Carbon War Room last year on the shipping.
Yep. And that was efficiency.org. And that was a really big, transparency leap for the shipping industry. So Maersk, it's such an important part of the global supply chain, right? So almost any large company that is shipping is, I'm sure, using Maersk ships at some point in the supply chain. What are you guys doing to sort of distribute this kind of thinking out towards your suppliers and your customers? So that are you building communication chains that can help to expand this thinking and maybe move it forward?
Yes, I think that there is a deeper change in the way that we've begun to act on the shipping side, because I mean, shipping is an enabler, and I think most enabling services are used to be very reactive, because you're enabling between someone else, and you're used to actually wait and see what those someone else want to do, and then you try to deliver that. But actually we're going much more proactive, have a much more proactive approach now and having strategic dialogues with customers, also around the carbon performance. We introduced slow steaming a couple of years ago, which saves us 2 million tons of CO2 every year. But more or less 50% of the tonnage today in other shipping lines are slow steaming right now. So there you see the spread. And a very rough estimation would tell you that is probably saving more or less 10 million tons of carbon each year.
And there's been all this talk about sails on cargo ships. Is this really just, I mean, a nice thing to look at, but not really going to make a significant impact on emissions, or is it something that maybe has real scalable value?
Sails for container shipping is not first in line because they sail too fast. So it seems a difficult technology. For the types of ships that sails at a slower pace, for example tankers, it's more a realistic option. For container shipping, it's really about efficiency, and there is a lot to gain, and it's efficiency in technologically, but also how you operate. So it's slow steaming, but then it's also about how the vessels of the future are going to look like.
And what are they going to look like?
Yeah, what are they going to look like? At least for the next step, the next new class or standard for big container vessels. We said this year as we ordered 20 new so-called EEE vessels. That stands for environment, economy of scale, and efficiency.
Environment, economy of scale, efficiency, EEE.
You can. The order of the factors.
Can we swap them around?
Yeah, you can swap them around as you wish. It's EEE. It's those EEEs, and it's going to be the largest vessels that's out there that we haven't seen yet. It's more than 50% more efficient than industry average today. So that's at least what we see as the next level.
Beyond super ships.
So super ships. And we have
super efficient ships.
And super efficient ships, yes.
Right. And so your 10, they've just been ordered, and how long does it take to go from where you are now to getting those into the market?
Yeah, that's going to take some years, and we don't know exactly when that's going to happen. It's a as I said,
it's a ship. A tanker.
Yeah, and it's a ship that's never been built before. So it's also designed for beyond 90% recycling of the material, non-downgraded recycling of all the steel in the ship. So that takes a lot of innovation in the shipbuilding process, and therefore there are ripple effects from that as well, because it's going to build in new practices or next practices, if you wish, on building efficient ships.
Right. Great. Okay. Great, fantastic. So it's really interesting seeing that even the heaviest of heavy industry and logistics and shipping are really aware and getting on board with kind of efficiency improvements and innovation towards climate. Thanks so much for spending some time with us. I'm Stan Stalnaker with Hub Culture at the World Climate Summit, joined by Kornerup from Maersk. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you again soon.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.